Okay, as you can see, the pump is asking us a question now. It's asking us, are all the clamps open? Is tubing not kinked and are drops flowing? And as we look up here, we see that drops are flowing. And as we're looking to make sure our IV line is patent and not clamped, the clamp is unclamped here. Our roller clamp is unclamped. And we also need to check at our patient to make sure that their extension set is not clamped or their arm is not bent kinking the tubing. And then you can answer yes to that question. And after you answer yes, the pump will give you a final display of an indicator that you have correctly programmed your pump. And I always like to point this out that you should take a final look at it and verify that yes, I have IV fluids, 1,000 milliliter bag flowing at 125 cc's an hour. And that's a nice safety feature. Now, we're going to go straight into explaining how to program a secondary infusion now. And let's say we get an order for a gram of Rocephin, and by far when we do secondary setups, about the only medication that we're going to be doing piggyback or secondary, piggybacking onto another infusion is normally going to be like an antibiotic. And as we'll explain later on at another time, most of the time when you have other types of drips, they're going to go on another primary infusion or on a line dedicated all its own. But commonly we do antibiotics as a piggyback or as a secondary infusion most of the time. So just like our primary set, let's go ahead and get it spiked and prime our tubing. Do it upside down. Now, go ahead and hang this up. Now, of course, when we do a piggyback, we use this hanger, of course, to lower our primary infusion, because if we didn't, if we kept it up as high or higher, you might be infusing your primary instead of your secondary. So we're going to lower this down, and then we're going to be inserting this tubing into the proximal port, the one that's above the pump. Of course, we're going to scrub our hub here or clean our port really well for 30 seconds. And then we're going to attach this since we've primed our tubing. And as you can see, we still have this clamped at this point until we get it programmed. That'll tell me I have air in the line. I can fix that by silencing, doing the silence button and then hitting run again. Okay, and then run. Okay, so now we have our secondary tubing attached. Now, this is the important part to show you how we're going to program the secondary. First, we're going to hit stop on our primary. Then there's another button here that gives you the option that says review program, and it's the second icon over from the left. You push that. Then it gives you another option, the third icon over from the left. It says program secondary. We're going to press that. Then we're going to key in the first two letters of the medication that we're using. As you can see, it's ceftriaxone, which is the generic name for Rocephin. So once again, you use this like an old analog telephone and you go CE. And then it gives you the menu of all of the medications that start with CE. So it's really easy to find. You just scroll down until you find the one that matches your medication. And you hit OK, ceftriaxone. Then it gives you the option for two different concentrations, which would be either 2 grams in 50 milliliters or 1 gram in 50 milliliters. And we're going to pick 1 gram in 50 milliliters because that's our dosage and what's ordered. Hit OK. And it's asking me to confirm the medication, the dosage, which is a nice safety feature. I'm going to press yes. And it's asking, is it the secondary bag? Well, that's correct. It is secondary. It is a piggyback that's plugged in in the proximal port above the pump. So the answer is okay. And then it's asking me to confirm the milliliters per hour. Well, we want this to go in 30 minutes. It's 50 milliliters, so yes, it's 100 milliliters per hour. So we're going to hit OK. Remember to hit OK with each entry. And then the volume to be infused is 50. OK. And at this point, I should be able to hit run, but it's also asking me another question, which is, do I want a callback at the end of the secondary infusion? Well, you can push either yes or no. If you push yes, this pump will alarm, calling you back to the pump when the secondary is finished. If you just push no, which is commonly done, once the secondary infusion is finished, then the primary will take over again and it will begin infusing again at 125 cc's an hour. So we're going to go ahead and push no, that we don't want to be called back because we may have another 6 patients that we're taking care of, and we may not be able to get back in there in the next 30 minutes. So at this point, all we have to do is unclamp this and hit run. And it's asking the same question or a similar question. It's asking, are drops falling from the secondary infusion and not from the primary, which is our objective? And the answer is yes. And once again, you have this final confirmation of, yes, I have programmed in the right medication at the right rate. It gives you a nice assurance here before you leave the bedside. Okay, and once again, once this finishes infusing, the primary will take over again at 125 cc's an hour. Okay, well that's all for the day. There'll be more videos later at another time.